Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Lowe.
How many of you here believe you were born a leader? Well, how many of you now believe leaders are made? I disagree with both of you. Some leaders are made in schools, while some leaders are made in Harvard. Some leaders are made in families. But the leaders that I've learned to respect the most, they all come from special places, very, very special places. And one thing that I've learned that no boardroom, no classroom or mentor could teach is that these leaders have all been reborn before. And today, let me share with you my experience in one of my very special places. It's 2015. I was 26 years old in my Bangkok apartment. At 9 a.m., they kicked down my door. They pinned me to the ground with rifles in my head. The police found the drugs. 3 years, Bangkok's worst prison. Leadership as we know it was built for a world that no longer exists anymore. That world is now broken. There's no leadership program in the world that teaches us what to do when everything falls apart. When the business plan that you spent 6 months building becomes useless the next week. Because they all say, you're smart enough, you'll figure it out. But the problem here is, being smart alone won't do anything. The question is not about how smart your leaders are, but the question is what your leaders do in times of uncertainty. Or rather, let me rephrase that question. It's not what your leaders do, but who they become inside it. I know this very well because I didn't learn it from a book. I lived it. Prison strips away everything you thought makes you competent. Your reputation, gone. Your status, your title, gone. Your plans, all gone. I remember my first morning. I woke up. I reached for my phone. There was no phone, no calls to make, just concrete and silence. I looked around me from wall to wall, and I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 steps wide. That was my whole world. And I sat there, and I was forced to ask the question that I've been asking my whole life. Who am I when everything I thought made me competent is gone? There's this question that so many people enjoy asking me. John, what would you have done different so that you didn't go to prison, so you don't have to go to prison? And my answer always surprises everyone. Prison was and still is the biggest blessing in my life. And let me tell you why. I have always wanted to change my life when I was younger, but I couldn't because of my environment. But when you're forced to be in an environment that gives you zero certainty, the only way you can find it is in your own mind. And that was where something very unexpected happened. I remember I was lying on the concrete floor, staring at the ceiling, when I surrendered, not to defeat, but to the truth. I finally learned to let go. And in this total surrender, this total stillness, something shifted. Not around me, but inside me. The noises, the doubts, the worries that has been in my head every day disappeared. And that's where I realized the darkness that I had been spending my whole life running from was the exact darkness I needed for my rebirth. And then it clicked that rock bottom is not the end. Rock bottom is the beginning. During these 3 years of darkness, there were 3 major shifts that happened to me that couldn't have happened if not for this darkness. Shift number 1, signal over noise. When you're in prison, you learn really quickly you cannot react to everything because it can destroy you inside here. You don't have the luxury of reacting to everything. You don't have the luxury of drama. You learn really quickly to develop a skill to filter signal over noise. You start to see clearly, to focus on what's real and ignore the noise. And once you've done that, when in rock bottom, you never again confuse urgency with importance. And then there was shift number 2, stillness under fire. The person who's able to stay calm in a room full of chaos has an advantage nobody else has. The next time you're in a crisis or you're in a situation, I want you to look around you. The person sitting down, staying calm, with everyone panicking around them, will definitely make a much better decision with the person, the smartest person in the room, that's panicking. Because the thing here is not about being calm. It's about being functional when the world isn't. The discipline is the same. Whether you're in prison at 2 a.m. trying to stop a fight, or in a boardroom with 6 banks calling you to solve their problem. The discipline is the same. How do you work? How do you think when everyone is panicking? And then there was shift number 3, proof that you can rebuild from nothing. When you've been at rock bottom and you have rebuilt from zero, you start making bolder decisions. You don't waste time, you don't hesitate, you don't procrastinate. Because that one thing that everyone is afraid of is failing, going to rock bottom. You've been there and you've survived. And today, I run a banking infrastructure company across 4 countries: Laos, Dubai, Romania, and Hong Kong. We process more than $100 million a month through systems that I've built from nothing. I had no Ivy League degree. I had no corporate banking experience. And that felt very familiar. The same mental space, just a different environment. And then I realized the same mental shift that helped me survive prison was the exact mental shift that helped me from zero to where I am today. We talk about disruption like it's a bad thing. But what if we should be choosing leaders that have been through it? And we all say disruption like it's a short-term, temporary problem. Like, after this is over, everything will be back to normal. What if there is no normal? What if disruption is now the baseline in these modern times? Disruption is now the basic operating environment that we all live in now. And the leaders that thrive in environments like this are not the leaders with the best resumes. They are all leaders who have been through darkness and have been reborn. The same conditions that break some people is the same conditions that build other people. The fastest way for you to become the leader that you're meant to be is to let go of the old identity you're pretending to be. The next time people throw stones at you, pick it up and build with it. The next time people light fire under you, use it as your fuel. We don't need leaders avoiding hard things. We need leaders who have been through darkness and are reborn through it. We've all seen this phrase before. When you are at rock bottom, the only way is up. But the problem about this phrase, going up is not automatic, right? There's so many people in the world that has been to rock bottom and stayed there. Rock bottom is not a destination. Rock bottom is a launchpad. A rocket launchpad is not where a rocket stays. It's where a rocket stays still to build force, to build friction. And then the most important, chaotic, and the brutal part of the whole thing is the liftoff. The ground shakes, the fire erupts, and then everything clears. The rocket that was standing still flies to the sky. The next time when you're in your disruption and your chaos, I want you to remember this. You are not behind. You're not broken. You're being reborn. Now, after I shared all this, let me ask you a different question. Now, how many of you believe you're being reborn as a leader? Look around you. See all the amazing leaders right now. Because you see, leaders are not born once. They have all been reborn from the dark. And there's something I want you to take with you today, is this. The next time you find yourself in darkness or in chaos, and you surely will, I don't want to ask yourself, what do I do to avoid it? I want you to ask yourself, who am I becoming inside it? Because that question, that one single question, is the whole game. Because leadership is not about what happens to you. Leadership is about who you become inside it. Thank you.